It is 5:30 on Tuesday, January 13th. I'm going to call the meeting of the West Fargo Planning and Zoning Commission to order. First item on the agenda would be approval of the order agenda. Are there any additions, corrections?
Move to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Is there a second? We have a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item C is the approval of the minutes from the December 9, 2025 meeting.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under the regular agenda, item D on the agenda, number 1 is the election of commission chair and vice chair. You could give us some insight what the job entails here, Aaron? I know there's a lot of perks.
Yeah, certainly. So the Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws stipulate that first meeting of every year is when the Planning and Zoning Commission elects their chair and vice chair for the year. And so just a matter of, I guess, nominations and then voting on those nominations. In terms of perks, I don't know if there's many perks, but certainly staff is here to, to assist anybody that's elected chair along the way. So happy to answer any questions, otherwise just
It's a one-year sentence?
1-year sentence, yep.
Okay. All right, we'll handle these separately. So the first item would be election of the commission chair. Principally, at least from my limited experience, it's just more or less running the meetings. We got excellent legal advice down here to keep us in line, and staff always to remind us what to do when we don't know what to do. So are there any nominations for commission chair?
I'll nominate Mike Dorstead to continue.
I'll second that.
We have a nomination for Mike Thorsted. I guess I'd entertain any other nominations. Hearing none, I guess I'm sentenced for another year here, but I guess we'll have a roll call vote on the motion.
Commissioner Schwan?
Yes.
Commissioner Amon? Yes. Commissioner Weary?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorsted?
Yes.
Commissioner Gust?
Yep.
Commissioner Fornes?
Yes.
Commissioner Kopp?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Okay, we also need to elect a vice chair. Do I have any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Dave Gust.
We have a nomination for Dave Gust. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Okay, are there any other nominations to consider? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schwan?
Yes.
Commissioner Amon? Yes. Commissioner Weary?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorsted?
Yes.
Commissioner Gust?
Yeah.
Commissioner Fornes?
Yes.
Commissioner Kopp?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll make you feel better, Dave. Next month I'm in Florida, so you get to start out right away. All right, very good, thank you. Item 2 is a public hearing, A26-1, Suket's second edition, a request for a conditional use permit, CUP, to allow an illuminated sign in an R1, 1 and 2 dwelling zoning district located at 127 2nd Avenue East, lots 1 to 10, block 14, Suket's second, less than north 30 feet, Iverson.
Good evening and Happy New Year, Chair Thorsted and Commission. As you just stated, this item 2 is an application for conditional use permit to allow an illuminated sign in a residential district as provided for as a conditional use in Title 4, 460.7.14 of our city code. As you stated, the applicant is looking to put a sign on the Faith Lutheran Church campus located at 127 2nd Avenue East. In the statements of facts section of your staff report, there isn't anything extraordinary to note other than there is a commercial property directly northwest across the intersection of First Avenue South and 2nd Street. Just note that as we proceed here, that it's not entirely residential in this neighborhood, but there is a commercial property across the intersection. In the discussion and observation section, as we've stated, the applicant has applied for a conditional use permit to allow an illuminated sign at the southeast corner of First Street and 2nd Avenue East. This is the northwest corner of their entire campus, which is bounded on all 4 sides of the block. It's a large property. The proposed monument sign would be 7 feet high, consisting of an 11.45 square foot internally lit Faith Lutheran logo on the top of the sign and an 18.22 square foot electronic messaging center along the lower portion, so it's within the 32 square feet that our code allows. Proposed sign would be located 15 feet from the north property line and 10 feet from the west property line, so there aren't any concerns with site triangle on the corner or encroachment in the right-of-way or adjacent properties. Under Section 4, 460.7.14 of the sign provisions, signs in residential districts and signs facing residential districts shall not be illuminated unless approved as a conditional use. So that's why we're here. You'll note similar applications were approved for electronic message centers at Lutheran Church of the Cross, Middle Ridge Bible Chapel, and Triumph West. So there's a precedent with 3 recent churches that were approved for signs like this, as well as Hulbert Arena with the conditions that included conditions that limited the hours of operation of the EMC to 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. In the next couple bullets, we talk about brightness limits for illuminated signs varying by jurisdiction. However, it is common for municipalities to restrict brightness levels for the purpose of protecting adjacent properties and maintaining public safety. Sign brightness levels are typically measured in relation to ambient lighting in units of brightness such as foot candles or lux. Automatic dimming can be used to adjust sign brightness based on ambient lighting conditions. With that in mind, due to the residential nature of this area, we're recommending capping the brightness of this sign at 0.3 foot candles above ambient lighting levels, and I'll show you what that means on an exhibit here shortly. Under the criteria for granting conditional use permits, I'll draw your attention to the bullet point in item 6, where illuminated signage is regulated by the sign code as summarized above, as we previously discussed. As with sign examples listed above, conditions for new signage should include hours of operation, time of day, illumination to ensure the intensity of the lighting is reduced during the dark hours. Units of luminance not to exceed a certain standard, and lighting reflect industry standards for LED lighting. There's no, as I stated earlier, the setbacks are acceptable for sight distance and no encroachments. There aren't any soil conditions or any incompatible considerations to be aware of. We sent public notices to all property owners within 350 feet in all the applicable utility and other agencies and departments. Note, to date, we did receive 1 protest, and that's in your packet. Protest property is located at 129 3rd Avenue East. It's approximately 500 feet southeast of where this sign is proposed to go. It's a block east and a block south of where the proposed sign would go. Finally, the staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit with 3 conditions of approval. Number 1, a signed conditional use permit agreement be submitted outlining these standards we've discussed along with the conditions we've listed. The sign be constructed as we're presenting tonight at this hearing and potentially subsequently approved at an upcoming city commission meeting. And finally, the sign shall not exceed 0.3 foot candles of ambient light measured 55 feet from the sign face. Can you advance to that slide for me, Brianna?
I'm sorry, I thought it was going this whole time.
The last page of your packet on this item, kind of the circle, pie-shaped one. There we go. What that is illustrating is how many foot candles are being emitted certain distances from the sign. So you'll see kind of the top center where it says 40 feet, the .27, the .29, and the .27 around that radius. It's saying that there's 0.29 feet at the most straight out from the sign, foot candles 40 feet from the sign, and our condition of approval is saying no more than 0.3 foot candles at 55 feet. So what they're proposing is within the range of what we're suggesting for approval. And with that, I'd entertain any questions.
All right, thank you, Steve. Are there any questions for Steve before we open up the public hearing?
The person who protested, is it correct that he lives here?
Correct. Corner of, it's the southwest corner of 3rd Avenue and 2nd Street.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, this is a public hearing. We'll open it up to the public for any comments. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to this matter? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Brenda Jo Gilland. My address is 908 Dolores Drive in West Fargo. I am on the church council at Faith Journey Lutheran Church, which is the church that's requesting to have an illuminated sign. We have quite often needed to rent a sign announcing something that is going to be happening at the church, and those signs are not very pretty. They are brought in on a trailer and in the fluorescent lights and the lettering that you will have seen around town. And we just really think that this would be more aesthetically pleasing to the neighborhood than those signs that are coming in transiently. Any questions for folks from Faith Journey?
No.
I'm also working with the landscaping committee as well, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any additional public comments? Final shot. Are there any additional public comments on this matter? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Any additional questions for staff, or is there a motion on the matter?
Well, I thought I was gonna have to recuse myself because I went to kindergarten in the church basement in 1964. I will move to recommend approval with the three conditions. That was three, right?
Yep. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second? All right, before we go to vote, are there any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schwan,
Yes.
Commissioner Almond. Yes. Commissioner Weary,
Yes.
Chair Thorsted,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gust,
Aye.
Commissioner Fornes,
Yes.
Commissioner Kopp.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Item number 3 is review and approve the 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting dates. Aaron.
I can just note really quick, in the meeting packet, we've got a list of meeting dates for the 2026 calendar year. So really, right now, we're just looking for if there's any concerns with the dates that we currently have identified.
Any questions, concerns for Aaron on it, or run with it and
Don't really need any
flexible? if
formal
something has
action or
to change?
anything, just more of an FYI and an opportunity to shout if there's any concerns, so.
Okay, I don't hear anyone objecting, so we'll run with that. The item number 4 is the review and discussion of the 2026 work program.
All right, for this item, the last page in the meeting packet, you'll find the Planning and Zoning Work Program for 2026. Commissioners that were around this time last year might recall, we did some updates to the commission bylaws, and at that time, we had a brief discussion on whether or not we should include this annual discussion of a work program. It's always been in the bylaws, but not something that's really been done historically. And so at the time, the direction of the Planning and Zoning Commission was to include the work program. And so really, this is just an opportunity for staff to present kind of what we anticipate we'll be working on as a department, as a Planning and Zoning Commission over the next year or so. And so really, this document here outlines some of the major projects that we'll be engaged in. I will note, some of this stuff isn't necessarily things that will come in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, but it is something, I guess, just for your awareness. And the purpose of having this on the agenda here today is really to gather feedback and input, just kind of a check-in with the Planning and Zoning Commission to kind of make sure that we're working on stuff that the Planning and Zoning Commission is wanting us to work on. We're interested in hearing any feedback that the commission might have in terms of if there's anything missing, anything that we should be focusing, more of our attention on over the next year. That's the kind of stuff that I think we're hoping here tonight. So with that brief overview, I can just kind of walk through what you see on the page in front of you there. So just to orient the commissioners here, we have kind of 3 different priority level categories. I wouldn't, think too hard about those, just conceptually, the way that we like to think about them. Kind of the high priority items are some of the bigger projects that we're more actively working on. Some of the medium priority items are things that are maybe secondary in priority currently, or that things that might become a higher priority in the future once we get to them timeline wise. And the low priority items at the bottom of the list there, you can kind of think of those as things that are in the hopper or on the back burner perhaps. So just to kind of give you a frame of reference there. So starting at the top and running down the list here, we've got the Growth Area Master Plan. Obviously, that's a very big project that has been ongoing since last year. We're hoping to wrap up that project in roughly Q2 of 2026. So you'll be seeing more information on that moving forward. We've had, I think, at least 2 different touch points with the kind of a Planning and Zoning Commission type roundtable with the project consultant team so far. We're hoping to have at least one more prior to actually bringing the final document through the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Commission for ultimate approval. So you'll be seeing this in more formal capacity, at least, I think, 2 more times in the not too distant future here. Second item on there is launching a short-term rental licensing program. The City Commission adopted the city's short-term rental ordinance a couple of months back. That ordinance is set to take effect July 1st of 2026, and so before that time, we're going to be working to kind of set up the review and approval apparatus internal to City Hall here. That'll include things like the application form. We're trying to make that an online digital application, utilizing some of the software services that we currently have, just to make it a little bit more user-friendly for folks that need to apply for that. So once that process is in place and we have more definitive details in terms of what that process looks like for the general public, we'll also be working with our communication staff to do kind of a public outreach campaign to inform people that this is coming and how to apply for their licenses as needed. Third item on there is our code enforcement reorganization and process development. This project has started last year, still ongoing. Essentially what this is kind of 2 parts to it. One part is a few years back, the police department kind of took over main administrative duties for code enforcement. Fast forward to today, and we're looking to kind of get more other departments involved in the administrative duties of code enforcement, and then to kind of better define what roles each department has for various code enforcement issues that come up. As you can imagine, we get, the city in general gets, complaints on a lot of different things that involve a lot of different departments. Sometimes it's might be a public works issue, sometimes it might be a zoning issue, sometimes it might be a combination of different departments that have to come together in order to help bring compliance to a site. So part of that effort is just kind of formalizing how we coordinate internally. And I will say this item is also related to the 4th item on the list, which is our software implementation. We're currently looking at updating some of our software services internal to City Hall here. One of the software platforms that we're looking at would be the code enforcement software platform. So looking at ways, for example, to to integrate a citizen portal and whatnot, so folks can go online and submit concerns online. They'd have a way to track some of that stuff, on a website, as opposed to having to call and kind of request updates and things like that. That software implementation would potentially also tie into some of our building permitting software services, as well as potentially some planning and zoning type case management and licensing. So touches a lot of different things that we're doing, including things like the short-term rental licensing and various other licenses that the city administers. Jumping down then to the medium priority items, map bus transit shelters. Steve here has been working with a couple of other departments to get some transit shelters in place in West Fargo. So that's been an effort coordinating with engineering, public works, map bus, in order to identify some stops in town that we can get some shelters created. Policy and procedure updates for subdivision exactions and infrastructure. This is in relation to some of our major subdivisions that the Planning and Zoning Commission sees. A lot of the time, or most of the time, with major subdivisions, those are accompanied by what we refer to as a development agreement, which outlines some of the details of how that subdivision will, any public improvements associated with that subdivision, and kind of related things. So things like stormwater standards, how we're, what are the stormwater requirements for a given subdivision, stormwater ponds that might be regional in nature. A lot of those require a great amount of coordination between the planning department, engineering department, our city attorney, and others. And so we're just working to get some kind of policy in place in terms of how we handle some of those questions that come up from time to time. Additionally, it has things to do with subdivision exactions, which is just a terminology that is used to describe public dedication that's required as part of the subdivision process. So when a residential subdivision, for example, dedicates land for a public park, that would be considered an exaction. Oftentimes with things like industrial or commercial subdivisions, there's no need for a park, and so the subdivision ordinance outlines a process for developers to provide a fee in lieu of land dedication. And so just getting a little bit more formalized policy in place in terms of how we handle that money, how it's coming in, how it's being monitored, when it is used, how we're kind of tracking the use of those funds as well. The ordinance allows the use of funds to go towards things like public parks, but also things, any public improvements that might go towards the neighborhood in which the funds were provided. Next item on the list is our growth area master plan implementation items. This is kind of a to be determined item, but we anticipate there might be a set of recommendations that come out of the growth area master planning process. And so just making sure that we're kind of carving out some time to be able to focus on any next steps or implementation action items that are identified as part of that process. The next two items are kind of related, the last two medium priority items. Title IV text amendments, these are kind of ongoing as needed. The Planning and Zoning Commission, you all have seen probably a handful of these in the last couple of years in terms of just some small tweaks here and there to improve or address issues as they're identified. We'll continue to do that as needed, but jumping down to the next item there, last item in the medium category, comprehensive code updates. This is something that was identified as part of the planning needs assessment that was conducted probably 2-3 years ago now. But really, this is a concerted effort to comprehensively take a look at our development regulations and kind of comprehensively clean them up. Just due to the nature and age of our current zoning and subdivision regulations, there have been numerous edits and amendments over the years. And as you can imagine, when you make kind of tweaks here and there over time, not everything meshes well. There's things that might conflict. There's things in our zoning standards that might conflict with our right-of-way or engineering standards, for example. And so not just looking at Title IV, which is our subdivision and zoning ordinances, but also taking a look at some of those other development regulations that are in other sections of city ordinance and making sure that those are meshing well as well. And then wherever possible, potentially pulling those all into a a single unified development ordinance, or UDC is what cities oftentimes refer to these as. So that's kind of I guess, a broad overview of what that would entail. We do not anticipate this to be any sort of rewrite or anything like that to our ordinances, more of just a cleanup, a checkup, making sure that everything's kind of streamlined overall, as opposed to kind of the piecemeal approach that we've taken over the years. So the low priority items, the first one there is some coordination of e-bike and e-scooter policy regulation. This is a conversation that we've had with the Park District and several other entities and departments, just recognizing the increasing use of e-bikes and e-scooters. Obviously, they can, a little bit more powerful than a pedaled bike, can travel at some higher rates of speed, perhaps. And so we've got, obviously, city ordinances that talk about, how things like bikes and regular scooters are regulated, but nothing on the books today that are, super specific to e-bikes and e-scooters on things like public sidewalks. So taking a look at those and just updating those city ordinances, city policies related, and other related, programs, whether it be, informational programs in the schools or parks or what have you, with an eye towards public safety there. And then the last one is our city lagoon redevelopment strategy. This has been something that the city's obviously been talking about for many years. Excuse me. And something that is actually incorporated into the scope of work for the growth area master plan. And so the intention here is just to let the growth area master plan kind of run its course and see what kind of recommendations come out of that plan in relation to the lagoon strategy. And then there's also probably ties into some of those implementation items in the growth area master plan, but obviously a bigger project, a lot of land there that the city at some point will need to kind of make some decisions on, so. Anyhow, that's kind of, sorry I got a little so long-winded there, but just wanted to provide a brief summary of each of those items, and certainly here to answer any questions, and more importantly, hear any feedback if there's anything that we're missing or the planning and zoning commissioners would like to see us spend some time on.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Aaron and/or staff? I guess not. We appreciate the report. Moving on, non-agenda items. Do we have any non-agenda items? No non-agenda items. I guess that brings us to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries, thank you.
Easy.